Jody and I actually met through work when I was working for Senator Kit Bond. Jody called the office one day because of an issue that was going on in north central Missouri that he needed some help with. So he called and I just randomly picked up the phone and he talked my ear off, and then...
Well, first of all, I was calling for someone else, and when I asked for Liz, Sarah was very persistent that Liz didn't need to handle this. She needed to handle this. And as the phone conversation went on, I bet that she wishes that she didn't take that call because I literally told her my life story and told her everything that was going on in the community and all the issues that we were having with the Fish and Wildlife Service.
So we owe it all to the Fish and Wildlife Service. I knew really soon. We met a couple times at work meetings, and then we started talking on the phone for like hours and hours and hours. And so I think it was probably one of those 5-hour long conversations before we even went on our first date that I thought that, I may love this guy.
It was a 5-hour conversation, and if I recall, it was around the 4th of July. When I started to learn who Sarah was, where she came from, what her family was like, what her values were, everything was falling in place. It did not take long after the first time that we met face to face that those conversations she was speaking of turned personal and
Less
not so
about
much
work.
about work.
My favorite characteristic of Jody's is his, I guess, commitment to me. I've never wondered, if he was serious about me or how he felt about me. So he's been very honest and open about his feelings from the beginning. So I think that's one of the things I can count on.
My least favorite attribute about Sarah is her smile, because it makes mine look terrible. I mean, look, she has the perfect smile, and it kills mine. That's it. That's all I got.
Good answer. After talking for several days on the phone and having hours and hours of conversation, we decided to go on our first date, and we decided that Jody was going to come down to Columbia where I lived, and so it was up to me to choose the date. And on someone's advice, I decided to go down by the river at this great restaurant, and it didn't turn out to be so great. Actually, it was mortifying. But we get to the river after taking a wrong turn, and so we finally get down there, and this wonderful restaurant is actually like an RV down by the river
With a canopy.
and it served Thai food. So I was mortified, but luckily Jody was a good sport.
Yeah, and in the background there were a bunch of people in tie-dye sitting around playing the guitar. And we had a couple of drinks and decided it was time to go. It was probably 125 degrees that day.
It was July 10th. I have learned so much more than I bargained for about duck hunting after dating Jody. Much more than I ever cared to know about ducks.
I've learned more about pageants and politics than I ever wanted to know.
And cheerleading.
Cheerleading. I didn't even know that cheerleaders competed. It almost makes it sound like a sport.
My parents and my family they really love Jody from the start. So it's kind of a boring story, but they just think he's great. And he's great for me, so.
All right, well, let's talk about first impressions. The first time that Sarah and I met my mom and dad, we'd actually gone out to dinner at the Pear Tree, which is a real nice restaurant. We both dressed for that occasion and ended up meeting my parents at a tractor pull. Well, Sarah and I are walking in, and I didn't notice it at first, but there were a couple of whistles from the grandstands. I mean, the grandstands are just full of people. And so we came, my dad stood up and he started waving, and we went up and I introduced Sarah to my mom and sat down with my dad and his buddies. And anyway, one of my dad's friends had told my dad, he's like, hey, check out that blonde down there, as we were walking up. And my dad was like, oh man, hey, look at that blonde down there. And whenever I got close enough, he finally realized that, oh, hey, that's Jody. On our way out, there were several guys that got elbows because they were obviously staring at Sarah in her little black dress and
Little black dress at a tractor pull.
yeah.